What I want to talk about next is that, listen, we all have our different views, and I don't believe that my views are much different than, Dr. Wallach or Dr. Glitten's, okay, right? But see, here's the thing, is that I believe that most people overuse supplements, okay, right? I think that they abuse the privilege of nutritional supplements. And what I mean by that is that I can't believe how many people will come to me and they'll say, listen, I got this issue. I'm on this product, this product, this product, this product. I'm still having this issue. What other product should I take? Right? And you know what? How they're talking about it? They're talking about it just like medicine. Right? And really what they're saying is that I'm not willing to do anything but mix a drink or take a pill. Which is what the problem with medicine is. Like, I don't have an issue with medicine if it's used right. I come from a family of physicians and doctors, right? And most of the time, when you go, I worked at a huge hospital system. I was with patients all the time, in specifically sports medicine and orthopedic. Nobody ever came into Dr. Kissenberg's office and said, hey, listen, you know what? My shoulder's kind of bugging me a little bit. Like, I think I just tweaked it a little bit yesterday. You mind taking a look at it? It's usually, hey, Dr. Kissenberg, my shoulder cannot move. It's burning like crazy. I cannot lift it. And now my jaw hurts and I'm getting a headache. And I think I heard it about 4 months ago. And I've been like laying bricks for the past 4 months. And I need you to fix this because I got to go lay bricks on Monday. And it's Thursday right now. Like, that's usually what happens at a physician's office. Right? And so, what do they have the ability to give you?
Pain medication.
Glucosamine? Like, are they going to give you cayenne pepper, boswellia, turmeric, and say, hey, listen, that should deal with something? It's just nutrition. Listen, guys, nutrition is not that strong. But medicine is that strong. I think that we all create the environment that causes them to do what they do. Right? And so that's how I feel that some people deal with me with these supplements. Is they come to me and they just want to add one after another after another. And I think to myself, hey, listen, guys, are you doing any of the other things? Like, are you eating right? Are you moving? Are you taking these other products consistently? Like, let's start with that. Remember how this all started? How this all started was Dr. Wallach saying, listen, all you need is 90 essential nutrients. And I believe that each of these nutrients, if taken consistently and doing some of these other things, that you are able to deal with 900 diseases and illnesses, right? Because he linked one nutrient to 10 different diseases and illnesses. Okay? And he also knew that all these diseases and illnesses, they were merely just names. They were names that the medical profession had to put on a bunch of symptoms. But he never looks at symptoms.
Right.
He looks at the root causes of your health issues. He doesn't look at your cardiovascular disease. He doesn't look at your diabetes. He doesn't look at your type 3 diabetes, which is now the sugar causes of Alzheimer's. He says, listen, what is the pathology of all three of those things? It is sugar in your bloodstream. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to develop a nutritional system set that deals with the sugar in your bloodstream. That's why it's called the blood sugar pack. It could be called the type 3 diabetes Alzheimer's pack. It could be the arthritis pack. It could be called the gout pack. It could be called the diabetes pack. It could be called the heart disease pack. But why? All of those things are linked to the same thing. So that's why it's called the blood sugar pack. Right? And see, this is what all of you must understand, is that at the very end of the day, all of your issues, really, unfortunately, I know that I'm part of the problem. Meaning that I have, unfortunately, for all of you, labeled things like digestive effects, and brain effects, and arthritis effects, and all. Really, if it were, there wouldn't be any of them. There would be one nutritional set, and you would take it for everything.
Well, we've been conditioned by the
But
medical industry.
exactly.
Right.
You won't believe me.
Right.
It's not that, oh, well, he just wants to sell more product. You just won't believe me that if I had one product and it covered all that, you'd say that's a snake oil. How could that do all of these things? Well, you would say that understandably because I know that the root of all of those things is one core. And I'm just trying to build a really strong, awesome core, and then all of these branches that you call your symptoms, they'll be dealt with on their own. Because how your symptoms are demonstrating themselves is not because of just one cause. It could be a bunch of. That's why you'll notice some people say, I got this health issue, but their symptoms or their health issues are totally different than yours. Yet it's the same outpouring, if you will, right? And so what I'm trying to say here is you've got to be careful with taking too many things. Not because it's not safe. It's just that you just don't want to waste your money. I don't want you to waste your money. Okay, right? I don't want you to... listen, if you're on the blood sugar pack, and you're always on the blood sugar pack, I'm kind of like, what have you been doing? Like, you should be on the blood sugar pack, and then at some point get back just on the Healthy Start pack. At some point, like me, I know everybody's different, but I want you just on the Healthy Start pack. You shouldn't have to take all of these other things. Because really, what they're made for is they're made for the acute issues, right? Like, I mean, if you have a digestive problem, then you have a digestive problem because something in your life has changed, something that you did, whatever. And so go take the Flora FX, and then in theory, because you've taken the Flora FX, plus you're doing all of these other great things, after a while, you should not have to take the Flora FX. Like, if you have to keep taking the Flora FX, like for a long time I'm talking about, to me that just doesn't make any sense. You're not doing all of the other things. Now, listen, I get it that some of us are willing to do all of those other things and some of us aren't. And it's okay if you're not, but then just know you'll continue to take those other things. Right? I'm just, like Tom said, frugal, cheap, right? But like, I want to spend the least amount to get, my
Amen, brother.
Right? Yeah. And so here's the thing, is that whenever you come to me and you ask me questions about health, I'm always going to say, listen, get on a Healthy Start pack, and then get your nutrition as tight as you possibly can, move around as well as you can, and get into a positive mindset. And do all of those things that you feel that you can do to the best of your ability. And if you still have some sort of issue, let's now add on something. Right? Because usually the reason why you're adding on something is only two reasons. The severity of where you're at right now is something that you need to have some extra help for. And we get that. Or, which is okay, you may not be willing to really clean up your nutrition to 100%. Maybe it's like 90%. And so I got to make up that other 10% with something. Right? And so that's why I say to all of you is that, listen, whenever you or you're talking to someone, what product set should I take? Let's get you on the Healthy Start pack or one of the Healthy Body packs. Let's do it for 90 days. Let's clean up your diet. And here's the simplest way to clean up your diet. Just the good and bad food lists of Dr. Wallach. Not rocket science, right? And then the third thing is move around. How much should I move around? Take one more step than you did the day before. That's it. And if you take one more step than you did, and you know it better than I. Everybody always asks me, well, how much should I exercise? I don't know. like, how much can you exercise? Right? Well, should I walk, 3 miles? Well, if you could walk 3.2 miles, walk 3.2 miles. Right? You got to take some ownership here. You know what I mean? Yeah. 3.2 miles is a long ways. Except I made Tom walk 15 miles in New Zealand. He was pissed. Yeah. He was like, we were walking out, and he was like,
every inch of the way.
oh yeah, he was amazing. Oh, he loved it. We were walking out. He's like, how far have we walked? I'm like, it's like 4 miles, because I know what he was doing. He wanted to make sure to walk back, right? So I was like, 4 miles, and then 4 miles, and then the third time I said 4 miles. I said, you said 4 miles 3 times ago. Let me see it right now. It was like 8 miles. Yeah, exactly. So anyways, so that's kind of my whole thing with, the products and what products you should take. I think that, to me, like I said, there is really 12 products. And those are the 12 products that sit in the Healthy Body Packs. Okay, right? And I know that we have a lot of them. And I don't know all of them. And I don't know how well they'll work with all of you, right? But it's almost like a trial and error basis. That's why those Facebook groups are really good. That's why meetings like this are really good, is you can ask people, hey, what are their experiences with this and that? And maybe you'll get some great knowledge. Here's what I always say is that it takes about 90 days for you to feel like whether something is not worked, but is working, okay, right? And it takes about 180 days for you to know really good whether this is right for me or not, right? And that's kind of the numbers that I use, right? Is that, okay, listen, I'm going to try something. It's going to take 30 days for my body to say, wow, this is new, interesting. All right, I'll get used to it. Another 30 days for it to really start like assimilating and working. And then another 30 days for it to start dealing with whatever issue that I think it's for. And that's why I say I don't know if it's going to be worked at 90 days or if I know that, hey, things are actually getting better, right? And then I'm going to let it go for another 90 days, if you will. And I'll say, at that point, really what I'm saying is that what am I paying for this is actually getting the value for it, right? Because a lot of times it may be working, but I'm like, this is awfully, like, not as much as what I'm paying for it, right? And so then I try something new, right? And so that's it. Like I said, unfortunately, nutrition doesn't work as quick as medicine, but the fortunate thing about nutrition is that while it's working on a bunch of other things as well too. And that's why you got to be really careful to say. That's why you're probably saying, like, gosh, 180 days, like, that's a lot of days. Like, that's a lot of investment to figure out if something works or not. Here's the thing I'm saying about that is that most of the time, the symptom that you're feeling, you got a lot of bigger problem inside, right? This is why, like, Chinese traditional medicine and Ayurvedic medicine, they always talk about hot and cold and yin and yang and qi. The reason why they're saying that is because they're saying, listen, when you have some sort of symptom, that is just your body crying out, saying, I need some help. But they never focus on the symptom. They focus on the root at the very middle, and they say, hey, we got to bring this back into alignment. So a lot of times when you're taking something, you don't know if you're working very deep inside that intrinsic matter to then deal with the symptom. Do you see what I'm saying? That's why it takes time, right? So anyways, that's kind of my thing on that. So why don't we do this? Let me take some Q&A, and while I'm doing Q&A, I'll probably jump on a tangent about something else, which will...
Very good.
Yeah? Cool? Okay, yes.
For someone who is unwilling to change their diet, say a young adult who eats junk food, is there any of this stuff that's going to do any good?
Yeah, I think...
Just add on to their junk food diet.
Yeah, great point. So the question is, I've got somebody who's eating junk food, they're just not treating themselves very well. Will this just be expensive pee, basically? Okay, right? And so here's the thing. I think for them, it's even more important, right? Because, hey, at least you're doing something. Okay, right? And so here we are, is we're going to give them the same type of benefit as somebody else who is changing their diet. It's just unfortunately they won't be able to get all of the great things that their body has to offer. Not what the products has to offer. It's not like the bad nutrition is going to hurt the nutrition, the nutrients that they're taking. It's just that now, unfortunately, the nutrients have to deal with the stresses of that food plus the stresses of that individual. Where if you were eating healthy, all it would have to deal with is the stresses of the individual, right? So, yes?
Don't you think related to that, though, that as their body is getting the good nutrition, that they're going to crave less some of this other stuff?
You're exactly right. I mean, all of those benefits will be over. Oh, sorry. The question, or the comment is that, hey, won't you think that this individual who's eating poorly, as they start to take these supplements, right, these systems, that they start craving less of the bad foods, right? And they start feeling better, and because they start feeling better, maybe they start doing the right things, you know? And you're exactly right, but usually that will happen organically, right? That is the best way for somebody to actually take their supplements, is that they start making it their decision. And that's why when David and Tom talks about whether it's the business or whether it's taking the products, like it's got to be your decision. The reason why that's so incredibly important is because when it's my decision, number one, I'm at fault, okay, if something doesn't work right. And then the second thing is it's my reasons. And so it's expectations that you create that I'm hoping to make up for. That's why I always say, hey, listen, if you're going to take this, what are your expectations? If you're going to do this business, what do you want from it? And then like David said, hey, listen, how much time are you willing to give me? And they'll say, well, why are you asking me these questions? Because I just want to make sure that from my experience and knowledge, that your expectations line up with how much commitment that you're willing to get. Because I don't want to get stuck with all of a sudden you saying I want to make $100,000 a year and I want to spend 2 hours a week doing it. I'll say, cool, no worries at all, but you ain't making $100,000. Okay, right? And it's simply so it's the same thing with this nutrition. Is that, listen, what are you looking for? Hey, listen, I'm gonna take this product, and if my migraines aren't gone in 30 days, I'm out of here. Okay, maybe it's best that you don't take this. And maybe you just keep continuing doing whatever you're doing right now. Sometimes it's your job, not necessarily, I'm not trying to convince you, I'm not trying to belittle you, I'm not trying to do it. I'm just trying to tell you what you're telling me. Right? And most of the time, what you're telling me is that I'm okay with living with my situation. Oh, these products are too expensive. Oh, I want this thing to work in 30 days. What are you saying? You're giving me these expectations that are far above anything that I can do for you. And you know that. So therefore, what you're saying is that I'm okay with living like this. I'm not telling you that you should be okay with living like that. All I'm trying to say is if you don't want to live like that, then you can try this. Like Tom was saying about the products being expensive, listen, is it really, I mean, I'm not trying to, I'm play the price game here. Everything's about value, right? Like if somebody said, hey, listen, I'll tell you what, Jeevers, I got this product right here, and if your mom takes that product, her diabetes will be gone. She doesn't have to change her chai. She can eat her roti and her shak. She doesn't have to move around. She doesn't have to do any of those things that you're telling her to do. And it ain't going to kill her, and it's safe, and it's all that sort of stuff. Right? I'd say, great. I'll give you $10,000 for it.
Right.
Because I'll give her because that's what it's worth to me. Is $10,000. Is that expensive? Might be expensive to you, but it ain't expensive to me because it's my mom. Right? So it's the same thing here. Is you have to, that's why it's important, like David says, that on the health element, you tell me what you're going through. You tell me what your quality of life is. You tell me what your pain is. You tell me what are some of the other things that you've done. Tell me what are some of the other things that you're planning on doing. What is your other solutions? And then based on that, we can figure out whether this has enough value for you or not. Because if it's like, it doesn't matter if it's $155 or $255 or $555. Is if you ain't got any other plan and you don't know what else you're going to do and you can't live the life that you're living right now, then isn't it, like they say, a bargain? If it works, but remember, we don't know if it's going to work. I'm not going to say it's going to work. Dr. Wallach isn't going to say it's going to work. He'll probably say it's going to work, but I'm not going to say it's going to work because I don't know. Well, but here's what I do know. Got 30 days to lick the inside of the can and give it back to me, and I'll give you your money back. And listen, everything's a leap of faith. How much are you going to really lose? You may lose $500 or $1,000, but is that worth it to you to try something that for a company that's been around for 20 years in 32 countries with over 1 million distributors and customers and hundreds of thousands of usage cases every probably minute, that it may be something that could work for you because you're no different than anyone else? I mean, that's kind of the logical step that you kind of take somebody through, right? So anyways, all right. Next question? Yes.
I actually have 2 questions, please. The first one is, how does our products with longevity compare to the company called Plexus?
Okay.
I haven't seen a lot about it. There's a few people, and I'm just going to just with that. The other one is, can longevity be taken by someone who's pregnant?
Okay, perfect. So your first question, I don't know. Okay, right? And I'll never know. And even if I do know, I won't tell you. Okay, right? And the reason why is because I don't compare our products to Plexus or to Isagenix or to Amway or to anything. Because here's the biggest reason why it's difficult for me to do that is that their core philosophy is different than mine. Remember, my core philosophy is all about 90 essential nutrients, right? It's all about Dr. Wallach's philosophy. It's all about the continued research that we do at Clemson University, at University of Manitoba, at University of Boston. It's all about providing your body healthy nutrients that are found in foods. I mean, that's a philosophy of ours that I really believe in. Now, other companies, Melaleuca has tea tree oil. I think it's Melaleuca. They've got their philosophy and how valuable tea tree. Monavi has acai and how acai is very. I'm not saying any of their philosophies are bad. I'm not saying